Hello, and welcome to this week's Shifting Gears from High School to College. This is week 5, where we will be providing tips on how to have a successful semester. While these are definitely helpful for your first semester in college, they will also transfer to your future semesters as well. So let's begin. The first one is to plan ahead. As a college student, there'll be more deadlines, more exams than you're used to in high school. So we highly suggest that at the beginning of the semester, you mark those down on your planner or on your calendar so that you don't miss them. We also suggest that you go ahead and mark your study plan or times that you'll be working on those projects down so that you know that there are specific times you will be working on them. This creates some accountability so that you know that if you have an exam coming up in accounting, that you will be putting time in to study for that exam. Or if you have a project coming up in anatomy and physiology, that you will be putting time in to work on that project. So we highly suggest that you mark down all those deadlines and also, like I said, schedule in the times that you're going to work on those things, just so that the time doesn't slip away. Next tip would be don't let midterms sneak up on you. Midterms may not have been as big of a deal in high school as they are in college. In fact, you maybe rarely saw that you had a midterm exam in high school, but you will see them more commonly in college. Midterm exams are there to measure how much knowledge that you are, or rather information you are taking in. And if you're basically retaining the correct amount of information in class, and you're staying on track with the course information. So make sure when you're marking things down, make sure you mark when midterms are and figuring out which classes will have projects, exams, etc. And make sure you spend a good amount of time studying for those. So if you are supposed to spend anywhere from 1 to 3 hours in studying for every hour that you are in class, definitely make sure that you're spending 2 to 3 hours studying for each of those class period hours in the week coming up to midterms so that you are as best prepared as possible. This is where your study groups may also come into play. Highly suggest utilizing a study group or a tutoring center or a learning lab so you can be as best prepared as possible. When you are thinking ahead and planning ahead, go ahead and schedule appointments in your learning and tutoring centers ahead of time, ahead of your midterm exams or any exams, including your final exams, because those will be slots that are going to be times where other students are going to realize that maybe their grades are not where they want to be. So again, I did mention final exams. You are more used to final exams because those were proctored in high school as well, but those will sneak up on you earlier in the calendar year than they did in high school. They occur in December generally on the college calendar during your first semester, and then again in April in the second semester if you are following a typical 2-semester course calendar. So make sure that you are prepared for those. The one benefit to having exams proctored earlier, one, your semesters are shorter in high school or in college rather than high school. High school, your semesters were quite a bit longer. But the nice thing is you go ahead and you get all that information out and you take your exams before you leave for your holiday breaks. So again, same thing as for midterms as it is for final exams. Plan, be prepared, make sure you're spending plenty of time preparing for those so that you can show just how much knowledge you have gained during the semester. All right, second tip for having a successful semester is get enough sleep. Many college students don't feel that they need to get a ton of sleep because you are in the prime of your life, essentially. You probably can run on a few hours of sleep because your body can kind of bounce back from it pretty easily at this stage in your life. However, sleep is still very important for you as a college student. Sleep, it increases mood and concentration and focus. So if you are still getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, that means you are more likely to be in a good mood and you're likely to be able to focus in class, focus on your classwork, your homework while you're studying in the library or in your dormitory. You're less likely to be dozing off and struggling to focus. Also, it affects your interactions with those around you, which includes your peers and your instructors. So you want to make sure that you're getting good quality sleep so that you can have positive interactions with those around you. Poor sleep is linked to a lot of very negative things, including depression. It has had links to heart disease, stroke, and diabetes complications. You're not likely to see issues with heart disease, stroke, and diabetes complications right now at this stage in your life, but it could have those lasting effects if you develop poor sleep habits now. But yes, you could have the poor sleep habits that you have now. You could see a link between that and depression in college, as well as a decrease in your immune system. So please be aware of that. All right, so we highly suggest that you get involved on campus. So when you are at college, we highly suggest you get involved on campus because it's a good way for you to meet others and find organizations that you're interested in and may help you in your future career. But it's also a good way to relax. So we suggest that you join one or several campus organizations and find the ones that you're most interested in. The number of organizations that you're involved in is completely up to you. It's about finding the balance for you. That's always, it's important to remember that schoolwork does come ahead of organization work. These are a great opportunity for you to challenge yourself. Also a great place to get involved in is your dorm activities because these are the people you live with, so you might as well have good relationships with them. So this is another way to have a successful semester is to find outlets and non-academic things to do on campus because that's part of the college life. And then the best tip that we can give you in terms of having a successful semester is to find balance. Finding balance between school, work, your campus organizations, your dormitory life, your friends and your relationships, your family and your home life back home, and then what you need for yourself. That's a lot of things to balance, and that's a lot of plates in the air. However, that is in order for you to be able to function at your best level, you will need to find ways to figure out which things take priority. Again, I would highly suggest that the things that take priority, one, yourself, doing what is best for you at all times, your mental health, your physical health, and then schoolwork, because that's what you're there for. But again, you're going to have to figure out what's best for how are you going to maintain contact with your family members and keeping up with your community back home, your support system back home. How are you going to maintain your friendships and your relationships, whether they are back in your hometown, they're on campus, maybe they are relationships and friendships that are on other campuses that you're trying to maintain. Finding that balance with your roommate, your suite mates, those that live down the hall, your friends that are in campus organizations, the workload that comes with that, and maybe you even have a part-time job. Some of you may even have a full-time job if that's what you desperately, might need to be able to make rent or pay tuition, etc. So unfortunately, there's no way for me to say this is exactly how you find balance. And I did have a mentor one time tell me, it's not necessarily about finding balance. It's more so about finding harmony. Harmony is a musical term that says when you have 3 or more notes playing at once, they don't make a nasty sound, that they make a nice sound. So find your harmony at college, where the things that matter most to you are making a nice sound. So that is our tips for having a successful semester and a successful time in college in general. Please complete this week's Shifting Gears survey by Friday at 5 p.m. Shifting Gears is brought to you by TRIO Pre-College Programs, which consists of TRIO Talent Search and TRIO Upward Bound. please visit qnatrio.org for more resources.